we just put a piece of phenolic around the orange stuff. Yeah. Around the tube and just tie it on there.
That would help it. That's one the other one's rubbing through. I can see the hose on the other one.
So what are we doing today?
Well, today we are doing the annual on the Lockheed, and we've actually been doing it for a few days, but today that we're actually swinging the gear to make sure that everything is moving up and down in the gear well and working like it's supposed to. Coming back up. Going back down. I guess it was getting stuck on the threads, maybe.
Hey, Jacob, it came off.
Yeah, I know.
Don't jerk on it because it's got to get lined up or it ain't gonna come out.
Yeah, look there, right there.
Do you have the whatever you were using? Is this the flat spot on top?
So next year we'll know. Let all the air out of the tire.
Well, that and that back bearing has got a shoulder on it. I guess I'll do a video on that real quick while you're doing it.
What are you doing here?
Letting all the air out of the tire so we can get the tire, the shrink under this fender here, a little mud flap, mud fender. Then we're going to clean that up. Once we pull the tire off, we'll grease these wheel bearings up, pull them all out, clean them up, put new grease in them, repack them. You going to help me with that?
Sure. Just have to do magic to video at the same time.
You get grease in all the little crevices. Because what you want grease to come out of all these rollers, because that's what makes the wheel turn on the airplane, and you don't want to have any trash or dry in there without any grease, because if you let your bearing get without, see it oozing out right there. But if you get your grease without any, or your bearings without any grease in them, then that's when they get hot and quit working.
We need to clean up these rims.
So what are you doing right now, Daddy?
We are packing the bearings. So what you do is you have this open area here on the bottom of the bearing, and you put grease in your hand or on a glove if you got gloves. If you're a girly man and you have to have rubber gloves. And then you push down on it right here, and you'll see it ooze out of the bearings here. And so as you squeeze it out, you just rotate it around, and you keep doing it until you see the grease coming out of the top. So you just keep packing it in there until it comes out of every little section. The other thing is you want to make sure you want to make sure that you get all of the grease off of the outside of the bearing, because dirt sticks to grease. And the whole point of this is to try to keep the dirt out of the bearing.
Okay.
So if you make a mess and you just leave this thing all messy, then you're going to end up having a bigger problem. So we put the dust shield back on here. So you basically have the race of it's called the race that the bearing sits in, then the bearing, and then you got a dust shield that goes on here to keep the dust out of the bearing. And then you got a pin or a little clip here that just clips right in there and holds the dust piece in. So the little clip holds the dust cover, and then that holds the bearing in. So then when we slide it all back together, we are done. This is a ring gear that attaches the wheel to the brake, or to the spindle, which is what the brake works on. So when you're putting the wheel back on, you have to line this thing up so that they mesh together. So you just kind of have to wiggle it back and forth, and eventually they will go together. When your back ain't killing you, because it's a pretty heavy tire.
I bet.
So it looks like
Eventually.
the bottom needs to come out a little bit. Oh, you know what? Oh no, this is it.
What?
Well,
It seems like it's pretty hard.
it is sometimes fun. I'm trying to figure out it almost looks like the top of the wheel is too high. Whew.
You tired?
Yep, I'm gonna have to take a break.
Yeah.
All right, so the first thing is this, I forgot the ring back here that I was trying to line up with the wheel.
Yeah.
This thing floats. So I had to pick it up a little bit to get it to line up. So that's why that wasn't going on there. And then the other thing I was gonna show you right here is this is the nut. So you get a washer and a nut that holds this on, and then there's a pin that goes through it to lock it all in place. But when you're putting this nut on, you don't want it too tight. So we don't want the wheel to wiggle. We don't want it to be too loose and wiggle. But at the same time, we don't want to get it too tight, because if you tighten it up, see, I can spin it. But if I tighten it up too much, then the wheel stops. See, it's stopping the wheel from turning.
Yeah.
So you don't want this nut too tight. You just want it just tight enough to keep it from wiggling back and forth, but loose enough that the wheel will still turn without a whole lot of friction.
Okay.
Here is we put some silicone tape around this, because the brake line, this line right here, when the wheel comes up, it's rubbing right here, and it's putting a little bit of a rub here, and it's also putting a rub right here on the back of the cable. So we're trying to see if that might help, and if it doesn't, we're gonna have to do something different.
Yeah, what I'll do is I'll put it in the hole, and so maybe but there's no cotter key over here. I'm gonna put this in the hole just to like mark it. Is it not even opened yet? It should be. Let's stick something out. All we want to do is know where it was. So if we got something in there, and when
So that's lining up with this.
yeah, this is just a temporary thing. So we'll come back to it later on.
All right.
See if they got it right. The other thing is we like to mark which one's which. So this is left. Sitting on the front dome, and somebody else clear. So that'd be Jacob. Let's sit him up there. So guess what? These bolts, you may know this. These are hollow bolts, and you fill them with lead to balance it if you need to.
Really?
Nobody does it anymore. But if you have a scale that's really good,
So where is this? How's this cotter pin going in here?
it's just a loop. It just all it does is loop around that ring to keep it from rotating.
So how do you get it out?
You weren't able to get it.
Well, no, I mean I got it straight, but this is the end of it. This is
Is
the
it a
head.
cotter key or is it a?
It's a cotter pin.
Is it? Holy shit!
But like,
Oh,
where
they
is
did
that
that.
head?
Oh yeah, they pulled it in. Yeah, I'll tell you what. See if you can hammer that back around somehow. I thought that was safety wire. I thought that was going to be easy. Cotter key is hard to do that.
So
What they did is a bitch.
so what am I?
Just try and tap it back through that hole because it should curl and come. It should curl and come. I'm gonna go over and put that in. Oh, there's Larry.
It ain't going in.
There's some diesel. Take something and tap it a little
Yeah,
bit.
it sounds like Larry.
I usually do it. You need that.
You need a serious bar for that. They say a 6-foot bar.
I didn't think that'd be the hard one, but it is.
With a 6-foot bar with 100 pounds gives you 600 pounds torque or something.
What are you doing, Brad?
Taking these screws out on the back of this prop. I actually don't know what it goes to. Just taking it out.
Could be tight.
I was going the
You know
wrong
what
way.
they go in those things? They go bolt stretch. Measure how much you're stretching the bolt. They don't give you a torque. I figured out what it equates to. But those bastards, they impacted them all. I'm like, man, I did it. It turns out a couple of them were over or under torque. But
I from sending my commander off to Clinic up there in Gainesville, I don't trust any because they messed those things up so bad. I had to send them back twice.
you see a number? Yeah, what is that?
5.
5? Okay, let's just make sure they have some
So
correlation
is
there.
this one? Or are those falling out? Just tapping out.
While you got it down in there, take it farther out, and then you can bend it up.
That's a long rod too.
Yeah, it's nasty. I mean, I better move my hand. I'll lose a finger.
How did they get that in there?
Oh,
Broke it off.
that's fine. I think. Here, get up under it now.
I gotta get the little broke.
Snack time.
It's something. The problem is it's so. It's so. It takes such a small thing to get in there that.
Yeah, get that one up. See if we can get underneath it and pop it up. Now we're talking. Oh!
Oh,
Right in my finger.
you got that on video too.
Get you. I hate when
And I can play that back in slow-mo.
That was sick.
They're still being used.
Yeah, and it's still the best prop. I mean, because a 2-bladed prop's faster than a 3, but they're so much cheaper than the others.
What are we doing?
So this is just.
Taking the 2 cases apart.
Mm.
All right, is there any question about which way this goes back on? We
Well-
knew the numbering system you had, right?
Yeah, if we have blade 1 and blade 2, it can't get turned around the other way, can it?
Okay, and there's a stamp right there.
That says like H, or there's a mark there, but I don't know what it says. And there's nothing over here. I don't really see. Can you flip it around and put it on backwards?
Yeah, it would go backwards, but you
Well-
have the numbers the way you had, so that was.
Well, yeah, we know, so if we got blade one going off this way, two that way, then we just have to match up the top of
Yeah, the
these.
serial number is on blade one side. We see that.
All right, and also.
Oh, there's a
this-
serial number over here,
And
too,
also,
right.
this is, if you flip it over, this is the pin one, this is block one.
Okay, here's your bearings here. Those are gonna fall all apart. Then there's like phenolic rings in here. And then this is the big deal with the seal to keep everything from leaking out the prop blade. So what we want to do now is just knock this thing down gently. And it's gonna release all that, but it shouldn't fall apart. We'll just grab the blades and make sure they don't try and slide off.
I don't see the number. I see the green paint.
Okay, that was blade one, yep. So which one of these is one?
Blade one.
Okay. There's rubber seal we don't care about. These right here, you want to ting them. They said to,
What is ting?
like, wrap with something. You want it to be not have a dull sound. Good ringing is good. And then this is the AD. This thing right here, what we got to do is pull it up. And what we probably ought to do to start with right now is measure that. See if that's about right. Do you have anything that'll measure that big?
The calipers are probably good over.
Yeah, we need one that gets big around that.
Oh, you mean around the outside?
Yeah, we need to know what that is.
All right.
Look at that. What is this? See, that's like a